Nick Irving, welcome, man.
Hey, man, I'm glad to be here, bro. I'm really glad.
I'm super happy you're here. I've been following you for a while, and we're getting ready to dig into your life story and go down some rabbit holes, I hope.
Oh, yeah.
But first, everybody loves this segment. It's like a little warm-up segment that we've kind of developed, especially with, guys from the community. Mm-hmm. Everybody is just really interested in what former soft guys are carrying every day to protect themselves. And I've been really excited about this one with you because didn't you have an incident like a couple years ago?
Yes, I did. Yeah.
What? Can you go through that?
Yeah. It's weird you brought it up, man. I was looking at old video. Like I have on my phone, the video recording of it happening. You don't see so much of the incident, but you hear me when I get the guy. So, long story short,
Do the long version.
Long version?
Yeah,
okay,
man.
So we're at home, and like my front porch, there's a sitting area on my front porch. I go out there, I usually sit down, do my meditation. It's pretty obvious. I guess I can say I smoke CBD. And I do my thing out there, and that's like my chill time. That's my coffee moment. And I had left something out on the front, like the patio area where I sit down at my bench, and I come inside, doing some typing, and I think I see a shadow that's going by the blinds of the window inside my typing room or my computer room. I see like a faint shadow, but in my mind, I'm thinking, well, it's probably a car that passed by or a big UPS truck. They're tall enough to where I can see the shadow go past the window. Didn't think much of it. Hours go by. I go back outside and I'm looking for this thing that is that I left on the bench, and it's not there anymore. So I go back inside. I'm thinking that, maybe the CBD is really kicked in and I forgot where I put this thing at. But I go and look at my security cameras, and that's where I see a guy in a hoodie come onto the porch, and he's looking through the window, and he's looking through where the door is at. My front door has two windows on the side, two small skinny windows, and he's trying to look through there, and he jiggles the doorknob a little bit, and he goes to the bench, and he picks up some stuff from the bench that I left there, and he takes off. But he walks around the neighborhood for a while. And this was a thing, it's been happening recently. My wife, she's on this neighborhood app.
Yeah.
And it's the devil. That app is ridiculous, but she's on it, and she.
I've heard there's some really interesting conversations that go on in those.
Yeah. She's not like involved, but she it's a form of entertainment.
Spectator.
I think. Yeah, it's a spectator, and she showed me this two video footages or clips of guys that are going in neighborhoods, and one guy had an AR-15, another guy had that mini Draco, and they're trying to open up car doors throughout the neighborhood and gain entry to different people's homes and cars. So that's like the new thing now. But before that, they were just, doing what, going around from door to door, seeing what they can get into. I called him on security cameras. So I go back to the old me prior to the military, and I put on my black hoodie, and I'm riding around the suburbs looking for guys, a guy who fits the description. I never find him. Some days go by, but that whole time I'm paranoid. So I slept downstairs, slept next to my AR, slept on the sofa, and nothing was going on. Days had passed, and I'm sitting back in the computer room, and I see that shadow again. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. There's no way that this is happening again. So I go peek out through the curtains and in the computer room, and I see the guy, but he's no longer on my porch. He's starting to walk towards my car area. I'm thinking about getting my shoes on, but I can't find the shoes that I was gonna wear or to slip on quick, so I run outside in socks. By then, as I'm opening the door, he had just done something to my door, like jiggle the lock on it. And he starts to run away when I come out the door, and you hear on the camera me lay into him, and he screams something like, he said, "Oh no, please don't kill me."
What do you mean lay into him? What'd you do?
Oh, I punched him I punched him.
Nice.
And like So I had my pistol in my hand. I punched him, not with the pistol in my hand, hit him, and he falls down. You can hear us, on the ground fighting or whatnot. He's just screaming, please don't kill me, please don't kill me. So I put my foot in his lower back. I flipped him over, and I put the gun to the back of his head, and you just hear the devil part come out of me. And I'm like, I say what I have to say to him. My wife, I tell her to call the cops. No, at first I told her I said, check on Caden, because I didn't want him to come down, my son, to come downstairs or see anything. And then I told her to call the cops, and this guy's pinned down on my driveway behind my car. And he's not putting up a resistance, but I could tell that he was, one, caught off guard, but he wasn't as big as I thought he was. I thought he was a bigger guy for some odd reason looking on the camera, but he's a relative, my size, just skinny. My height, but just really skinny, and like how boys are built nowadays, or they don't have that stuff in them. I don't know what it is, but I'm on the ground with him, call the cops. My wife gives me the phone, put it on speakerphone, and I'm talking to the dispatcher, and she says, she's like, telling me how to not disarm, but take the magazine out the weapon, make sure it's no longer there when the cops are, when they pull up, they didn't want to see a guy with the gun. And she's like, well, who is who? Or describe the guy for me. And I'm like, he's a black guy. He's got I think it was the old hippie color tie-dye style hoodie. And describing what he looks like, and she's asking what I look like, and I'm like, I'm also a black guy, and this guy's black, and I'm like, listen, I'm the guy with the long hair. I have locks, and don't shoot that guy. And you can hear, because so I did eject the magazine, but I never took it out the chamber. So I whisper in that guy's ear. I was like, I still have one in the chamber, fucker. And it was my 40 cal, and he didn't move. He was, sweating and crying a little bit. The cops come in like 45 miles an hour, and you can hear him on the camera come to a screeching halt. The cop, he gets out of his vehicle and takes it on from there. And I just took a picture of that guy. Because what I wanted to do with him was, I wanted to do what I wanted to do with him. Mm-hmm. But then I thought about it, and I guess a lot of it came down to, I don't know, you don't really expect something like that to happen stateside. Yeah. So to turn that, I can see if, he was armed too, but the fact that he wasn't.
He was armed?
No, he was not.
Oh,
no.
Okay.
If he were armed, I think it would have been way different. But, well, obviously. It's just that he wasn't there's no rules of engagement, I guess. Or there are, but it's just a weird situation to be in. So I didn't, want to kill him, I guess. And once I gained control of him, it was, no point in it. He has a little lump in the back of his head, but that's about all I gave him.
Yeah. Well, how long ago was that?
Dude, that was a few years ago. Over 3 years. I think around the pandemic time, if I'm not mistaken. Okay. Or if that's what you want to call it, that flu season.
Yeah, the flu season.
Yeah.
That's a good way to call it. I'm just curious, did you get any, what was the process like with the police? Did you get any
case number? I got an update as far as he was prosecuted or put away for I forget how long, but I didn't really keep up much with it. I had a case number, the cop, and I just never followed up with it like that.
You didn't get any no repercussion for defending your family and property?
No. I've had a few not run-ins with the cops, but the cops in my neighborhood, or they come around, they know me, and I've had an incident with some German Shepherds that one of my neighbors has. He has 4 or 5 of them, and they can be violent, and they all got out on the leash, one or off their leash, or broke out the house, and they're roaming the neighborhood, and me and my son are outside, kicking a soccer ball around. And I grab him, and in my mind, I'm thinking we're about to get mauled to death. Luckily, they just encircled and just did a bunch of gapping and ran back, but I was pissed. So when the guy came out, I was pissed off, and I said, dude, if this happens again, I'm going to put a bullet in each one of your dog's head, and I'm not going to miss. And he called the cops, and the cops was, they came over, and they were like, dude, he has every right to, do what he said he's going to do. And we had that conversation. And I used to have this stalker cop that would come to my house at random times asking for an autograph and just wanting to hang out and talk. but he got, yeah, but
He's not there anymore.
no, he's not there anymore. It was just, but yeah, I'm cool with the cops that I've had come over to, my neighborhood, which is not often. It's just stuff like that. Then we had a pedophile ice cream truck driver.
What? Are
Yeah.
you serious?
Dude, I was on the news. This was like when I first moved there. Maybe like a year or two after I moved there. If you look up my name with ice cream truck or whatever, you'll see the news clip. But he was like riding in our neighborhood and that annoying music. He was just parked outside and it was going on for like 30 minutes. I'm like, dude, there's no one outside. There's no kids. And I go outside and that's when I see what I saw him doing in the ice cream truck. And it, I blew my shit, man. And that's when me and him got into it. And the door of the ice cream truck, and I ended up almost like ripping that thing off to get to him. And he's trying to, run me over with the ice cream truck, and we're scruffling. My wife is hanging out the front door, and she's like, what's going on? Why is this guy fighting the ice cream truck guy? And I tell her, I say, Jess, go inside and get my bitch. And my bitch is a little 12 gauge, like a short barrel sawed-off shotgun. And yeah, made the news for that. So
Man.
that's I don't know. I have those little weird run-ins.
I mean, imagine finding out you broke into the guy's house nicknamed the Reaper.
Yeah, he found out.
Genius.
I'm glad I did not kill him, though. I think that would be, I don't know if it would weigh heavier on my conscience or whatnot. It would just be something that was not expected,
Yeah.
Especially at that time.
Yeah.
Unexpected.
Well, let's get into, man, thanks for sharing that.
Yeah.
That's I don't know that many people that have actually had to deploy an EDC
Yeah.
in stateside, and so to get some real stuff it makes it important, makes
Yeah,
it real.
yeah.
But just everyday carry.
I don't carry the
Protect-
Glock anymore. I
You don't
carry
carry
my
the-
Sig
Really? What
Yeah.
kind of Sig?
P365.
Really?
Yeah.
Well,
That's my favorite.
speaking of which,
You're kidding, dude.
yeah, I got a little gift for you here. So I got a buddy over at Sig. His name's Jason.
Yeah?
Yeah, he loves when people from the community come on and is always curious about
can
what
open
they're
it
carrying.
here?
Yeah, open it up, pull it out.
Oh, you're kidding.
Yeah.
dude.
Yeah, so that's
No.
that's the latest one. The P365 Macro Legion
Jeez. dude.
All Metal.
Oh,
It's got the compensator built in on the front. That's their new optics. They've really upped the game with the optics.
it appears so, doesn't it?
And
Oh, my, bro. Oh, that feels so good. This is way different than my 365 that I bought years ago, or a
Yeah.
couple of years ago. That feels so good in my hand.
I love that weapon. I mean, they don't make them all metal
Perfect.
anymore, and so for Sig to come out with the Legion all metal, subcompact 18 or 17 plus one in the pipe. She's a beaut.
Oh, my gosh, dude. Wow. Bro, I don't have a firearm that I brought you or anything like that, but this is amazing, man. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, my pleasure.
That's my new EDC. Well, there it is. That's
Right on.
the EDC, man.
So you were carrying what, the OG Sig?
Yeah. And before that was my Glock 23. Or I had the Glock 23 and the Glock 22 before that. I started off with the 22, but that was just way too long and too bulky. That's more of like years ago, my winter carry. And then when I got introduced to Sig, I used to not be a big Sig guy. In battalion, you have Glocks and we had the Beretta. So I've always been a Glock, and I did not like the Beretta until I got my hands on a Sig introduced to me by a Navy SEAL. Dude, I don't want to forget it. I am drawing a blank, but it was a SEAL, and they had the 229, I think.
Yeah, 22.
That's Sig
226.
or 226, something
Yeah.
like that. And yeah, dude, that was the first Sig that I held and I shot that I was like, you know what, it felt smoother. It was just something about it that it didn't feel like a brick. Something about a Glock feels like a brick to me. The sights, the way they come up, and I don't know. The Sig ergonomically, for me, feels better. I can get quicker on the sights with it. It's lighter. I don't know. I love the Sig. So
What do you
that's been
think
my
about
new-
those red dots on top of handguns?
Yes, I love them.
You're
I
into
love
it.
'em. I wouldn't run anything else than, like, dude, I like shooting iron sights, but I think having the red dot, which I have on like my ARs and stuff like that, and I have it on my Sig, and I have one on the MCT. It's that little collapsible, you put your pistol in.
Oh yeah.
I have one on that. That's like the only red dots that I have. And of course the scope's on the long rifle, but for a handgun, I would always have a red dot, in my opinion. I just get quicker on the sights with it, I think.
Yeah, I'm a lot more accurate, especially
yeah.
at distance with it. But it's taken me some time to find the right sight picture fast.
Really?
Yeah. But I love it. But what else?
Dude,
what else do you
sick,
carry?
man. Oh yeah, so cell phone, of course. I have a not a satellite, but a cell phone charger that is solar, so you can set it out in the sun and it charges it up. And a little Faraday bag. That's what I've been, and a little fanny pack. So it's a fanny pack with the little Faraday bag in it, and you put your cell phone in, and I put my phone charger in, and I carry my, my Sig, and that's like the only thing that I really carry. Other than like the vehicle, we have a...
Real quick, before we go to the vehicle, let's talk about the Faraday bag. Why do you carry that?
Your guest, Tim Kennedy, actually put me onto that.
Really?
Yes. And after your guys' interview, I think he put something up on YouTube or whatever, and he was describing, or maybe it was on this episode, where he was talking about what he carries for EDC and the Faraday bag, and looked into it, and it's like, and the way things are going now with, you never know what's going to happen,
Yeah.
I think that was it opened my eyes to having a, form of communication if something does happen, and then having the secondary form of communication all the way to your, emergency, which prayerfully will never have to get to. But normally just one phone, cell phone charger, and my Faraday bag and pistol.
Man, I don't carry a Faraday bag. Maybe I should, but have you ever heard of General Spalding?
No.
Oh man, you got to follow this account on Twitter.
Yeah?
Super hard on China.
Really?
But he is developing, this is fascinating. You hear about all these black phones that people are getting that the protect you from the typical advertiser ID and tracking you and everything. This guy isn't building a phone, he's building a 5G network where you control all of the data.
Really?
And you put it's for communities. So basically you throw a little mini cell tower up. These should be whatever, it doesn't matter. You throw a mini cell phone tower up and it's your SIM card, it's your network.
Oh wow.
You control everything. And it's EMP proof.
Oh wow.
He says that the phones, if an EMP went off and your phone wasn't plugged in, it would be likely that it would not be affected.
Really?
Yeah, he said it. Most of the stuff that's affected would be the stuff that's plugged into the grid. But pretty interesting stuff. But I don't carry a Faraday bag, but I have a Faraday box at the house.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, it's no secret now, right?
Yeah.
They're always listening, whether it's Amazon or Facebook or the U.S. government listening. And so we have a box at the house, Faraday box. The phones go in the box.
Smart.
When we're not using them. That way, nobody can listen. And but people need to start taking that stuff into account.
Oh yeah, and I don't think it's paranoia anymore.
No, I mean Amazon. From what I understand, I had another guy that came on really well versed in the AI stuff. Said that Amazon, the new Alexas, have sonar capabilities, so they will not only be able to listen to you, but they can pinpoint where you are in your house at any given moment of time.
Why?
Exactly. Why? Why would you need to know where the hell I am in my house?
Wow.
Crazy.
Unless they're giving all that information to the government or something, and if they want to know, I don't know. Why you wouldn't want to know where I'm at in my home unless you're targeting me?
Well, I mean, they're picking up algorithms in your voice, with your emotions and all this stuff.
Is getting out of control, man.
It's scary.
Yeah.
So I've even thought about putting that EMF proof paint on all the interior of my house. Yeah, they have a paint that'll. You ever go into like a department store and you'd notice you'd have zero signal.
Yes, yeah.
That's EMF paint.
Oh, man.
Yeah, yeah. But what do you think that the biggest mistake is people make who, I mean, look, crime's on the rise. There's supposedly, borders wide open.
Yeah.
We talked about this at breakfast. You see people being prosecuted for defending civilians in harm. That guy up in New York, the Marine that they just charged.
Yeah.
You see what's going on in California. What do you think that the biggest mistake is for people that are starting to wake up and go, oh man, maybe I need to get something to protect myself, whether it's a firearm or some kind of
The biggest
blade.
mistake.
Yeah. What do you think the biggest mistake people make is?
Not familiarizing themselves with what they're going to be using to defend themselves with. A firearm, like my wife, for example, she was never big on guns until, of course, she married me or whatnot. And but in order for her to be comfortable around them, I wanted her to at least be able to shoot them. And as opposed to, like, when I was deployed for 3-4 months at a time, I would, leave my weapons at home so she would be protected. But I think not even training. I mean, it takes some degree of training. Not everybody has the capability of being able to go out and spend thousands of rounds on ammo or whatever. But just having a basic understanding, I think, would be extremely helpful to be comfortable with having that small explosion or large explosion happening in your hands or a few inches from your face. I think, having somewhat of a familiarity with that would be extremely helpful. But I think most people will buy a weapon and never use it. It's just, I have a gun, I'm going to set it on my dresser, drawer, wherever you have your weapon at, and that's where it stays and collects dust. And they don't know the basics of loading it or shooting it or even maintenance, cleaning it, having it set there for as long as it does. But I think that'll be the biggest mistake, is not at least familiarizing yourself with your self-defense weapon.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I think that's a a major flaw. If you don't know how to use it, then it's not going to be there when you need it. Or
you may buy something that's way too, I don't know, if you're a beginner and you go out and you think because a Desert Eagle 50 cal it's a stopping power round, and you go to shoot it and it's not for you, or you can't get those follow-up shots, or, you break your wrist because, you don't have enough testosterone. But I think, not familiarizing yourself would be the worst thing to do.
Yeah. Well, Nick, I appreciate you sharing that stuff, and man, what a great segment. No matter where you're watching Shawn Ryan Show from, if you get anything out of this, please like, comment, subscribe, and most importantly, share this everywhere you possibly can. And if you're feeling extra generous, please leave us a review on Apple and Spotify podcasts.